There were so many ideas, the meeting turned into panic, said one longtime Tokyo Electric veteran present that day. He made the comments in an interview with the New York Times, one of several interviews that provided a rare glimpse of the crisis of the company's workers experienced it. There were serious arguments between the various sections about whether to go, how to use electrical lines, which facilities to use, and so on. The quarreling echoed the alarm bells ringing throughout Tokyo Electric, which has been grappling with an unprecedented set of challenges since March 11, when the severe earthquake and massive tsunami upended northeastern Japan. It is also an insight through interviews, emails, and blog posts into the problems faced by the thousands and often anxious but eager Tokyo Electric Power employees working to re-establish the order. Many of them, especially the small number changed with approaching damaged reactors and exposing themselves to unusually high doses of radiation, are viewed as heroes, preventing the world's second worst nuclear calamity from becoming even more dire. Gaddafi army not at breaking point. Libya leader Muammar Gaddafi's armed forces are not close to breaking point, despite hundreds of allied airstrikes, American military chiefs have said. Admiral Mike Mullen told the U.S. Congress committee Colonel Gaddafi's troops still had 10 times the firepower than the rebels. At the same hearing, Defense Secretary Robert Gates reiterated the U.S. would put no boots on the ground in Libya. Rebels and pro-Gaddafi forces appear to have reached a stalemate in their fight for control of the country. Neither side appears to be able to land a telling blow or hold onto any territory gained. But the Gaddafi regime has suffered political setbacks. The man designated to Libya's next UN envoy announced he would not take up the post, according to a statement given to media organizers. Ali Abdeslam Traki, chosen to replace a previous envoy who defected, was quoted as condemning the shedding of blood. India's census population goes up to 1.21 billion. India's population has grown by 181 million people over the past decade to 1.21 billion, according to the 2011 census. More people now live in India than in the United States, Indonesia, Brazil, Pakistan, and Bangladesh combined. India is on the course to overtake China as the world's most populous nation by 2030, but its growth rate is falling. Figures show China has 1.3 billion people. The census also reveals a continuing preference for boys. India's sex ratio is at its worst since independence. Female feticide remains common in India, although sex-selective abortion based on ultrasound scans is illegal. Sons are still seen by many as wage earners for the future. Statistics show fewer girls than boys are being born or surviving. The gender imbalance has widened every decade since independence in 1947. According to the 2011 census, 914 girls were born on every 1,000 boys under the age of 6, compared to 927 for every 1,000 boys in 2001 census. This is a matter of grave concern, Census Commissioner C. Chandramouli told a press conference in capital Delhi. Government officials said they would review all their policies towards this issue, which they admitted were failing. Pakistan, 10 die when bomber hits Fazlur Rahman convoy. At least 10 people have been killed in northwest Pakistan after a suicide bomber hit the convoy of a radical religious leader, police say. At least 2 of those who died in the blast near Charsada were police guarding Maulana Fazlur Rahman, who was unharmed. 30 others were injured. It is the second time in as many days as Maulana Rahman has been targeted. An attack on Wednesday killed 10. Taliban militants are thought to have carried out these bombings. Sri Lanka website editor Bennett Rupasinghe is arrested. Police in Sri Lanka have arrested the editor of a news website critical of the government. Correspondents say that the move is intended to intimidate independent journalists. Police say that Bennett Rupasinghe, editor of LankaEnews.com, was arrested for allegedly threatening another man. But press freedom campaigners say that the arrest was made on questionable grounds and is an attempt to silence dissenting voices. Lanka E-News has been subjected to a number of threats and attacks in recent years. A columnist for the website is still missing more than a year since he disappeared, and its office was set on fire in January. Mr. Rupasinghe said at the time he was suspected a government hand in the arson attack. Conductor Zubin Metha urges India to enjoy orchestras. Acclaimed international conductor Zubin Metha has returned to India to urge his countrymen to take an interest in orchestral music. Western classical music is an unusual sound in India. But as the country modernizes and takes notice of foreign influences, it is finding pockets of popularity in Mumbai, India's entertainment capital. However, no one doubts that this form of music may struggle to raise its profile in a place where Bollywood rules. We'll move on to the business news. Vodafone to pay $5 billion to buy out India business. Vodafone is to pay its local partner SR Group $5 billion to buy them out of their Indian joint venture. The phone giant's decision to exercise its option to purchase SR's 33% stake was widely accepted. It leaves Vodafone holding 75% of the business, giving it a majority stake for the first time, although Indian foreign ownership rules will force the UK firm to reduce that to 74%. It also ends a relationship with SR that became increasingly strained. The two firms had clashed publicly over plans by SR to reorganize its ownership of the Indian business in a way that Vodafone claimed would not value the company correctly. Vodafone has forced a string of problems since entering the Indian market in 2007, including a £2.3 billion write-down, a 25% of the business value due to rising spectrum costs, and disputed $2.5 billion tax bill from the Indian authorities. Welcome to the world of science. Ring ripples in Saturn and Jupiter linked to comets. Scientists say the strange ripples observed in the ring systems of Saturn and Jupiter were caused by comets. The ripples, which the researchers say resemble the undulations of corrugated metal, were detected in both Saturn's rings and in Jupiter's lesser-known rings. The ripples in Jupiter's rings are believed to have been caused by the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, which struck the planet in 1994. Details are published in two separate papers in the journal Science. The researchers analyzed images of Jupiter's rings taken by the Galileo spacecraft in 1996 and 2000, and by the New Horizons probe in 2007. They also looked at images of Saturn's rings taken by Cassini spacecraft during 2009. And in sports, World Cup cricket boasts India and Pakistan ties. India and Pakistan's prime ministers vote to repair relations between the countries as they watch the India beat Pakistan in the Cricket World Cup. Manmohan Singh hosted his Pakistani counterpart Yusuf Raza Gilani for the semi-final in the city of Mohali. Mr. Singh said cricket had been a uniting factor and that they should cast aside ancient animosities. Relations between the nuclear-armed rivals plummeted after 2008 Mumbai attacks. More than 170 people were killed when gunmen launched a coordinated assault on various targets across the city. The planning and execution of the attacks were blamed on Pakistan-based militants. Wednesday's match was the first time the two sides had played in either India or Pakistan since then. And now, before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Washington in fierce debate on arming Libyan rebels. Retreat for rebels, Libyan Foreign Minister quits. C.I.A. agents in Libya aid airstrikes and meet rebels. Workers give glimpse of Japan's nuclear crisis. Gaddafi army not at breaking point. India census population goes up to 1.21 billion. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks to thank you